brilliant ball in from Ronan. Just rises up, beats Safari. What a fantastic save.
Well, hey everybody, welcome to Afterburn Soccer Show. I'm your host, Nathan Hill, and yeah, it's a little solo right now, but Jose Carmona will be joining me in just a moment. Working on just coming back late from dinner. Got some video and things to share with you in just a bit. We're just working on that in the background. Kind of one of those weird summer days where, I took the kids to the pool and didn't get the prep done as much as I wanted on everything to kind of unfold. But I'm expecting Jose to join me here in just a moment. We got a lot to get to tonight on the show. It was a busy week. I posted on that on the afterburn.soccer website how busy of a week it was for FC Dallas fans, for United States women's national team fans, for Major League Soccer fans. A lot of interesting things to get to. Here comes my buddy. Here he is. Here's Jose. Kind of a soft start to the show tonight.
That's all right.
But that's all right. Jose, how are you doing?
Good. I'm here. Be doing better if the result had gone our way this weekend.
Yeah. Well, let's start there, of course, with the Leagues Cup kicking off, and I got a question on Twitter. I haven't looked up yet, but I'm assuming it's goal differential. But the question is, this Leagues Cup is a different format for FC Dallas, for Major League Soccer teams, and for Liga MX teams. That it is, so if you draw, there is a chance to do the penalty kick shootout, just like we see in MLS Next Pro. And you get an extra point if you win the PK shootout. So that kind of provides a little bit of room in the standings. So right now, Charlotte has 2 points. FC Dallas just has 1. Although FC Dallas prepares to play Necaxa, and then Charlotte will play them to kind of round out the group. But the question is, let's say every group is tied on points, then what's the next tiebreaker? And I don't know that yet, but I'm assuming it's goal differential.
That's just it, though. So I was looking it up, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, but let's say right now you've got Charlotte on 2, North Texas on 1. If, and this is just all speculative, if North Texas were to go to a draw in the next match and then win the penalty kick shootout, they would be at 3 points. And Charlotte would be at 2, and Necaxa would be at 1. So if Necaxa draws Charlotte and wins the PK, then all 3 teams will be at 3 points. How do you break that? It would be all draws, so there would be no goal differential.
Yeah, it says goal scored. Oh, okay. It starts with group stage tiebreakers start with goal differential, then followed by goals scored, goals conceded, fair play points, and finally a drawing of lots.
So the two goals scored. The 2 goals scored could be the difference right now.
It's old school.
I would be so down to see that, but in all honesty, we need a W next match. I mean, let's just say that I think that took the wind out of the sails. The result did.
Well, and let's start with that Friday night game. I mean, this was watching it. It was a lot of fun as an FC Dallas fan, especially when FC Dallas scored. And I try to keep my journalistic hat on as well, but it was also then very deflating when they gave up the late goal so late as it was. And it just seems like that has been FC Dallas's luck, their misfortune. They're just something about this team that isn't able to grind out and make that critical play at the end. I don't know what you thought about it. I mean, we saw the Kamungo goal, which was just so much fun. What a story that kid is for FC Dallas and for this franchise. And then to get a goal, Charlotte comes back and ties things up. But then you get a goal from Sebastian Letjet, who's not had the best season as a professional soccer player for a lot of reasons, a lot of things going on.
I hear things are go turning out paces for him lately. So I think the fact that he's had an assist the last game and a goal this game uh, means his luck has turned. So I like this legit, and
Good.
I like
Yeah.
to see more of this legit going forward.
Yeah, but to give up that goal so late, and I just have my own issues with this team. Like, Charlotte's going to come out and attack in the second half. So why can't you preemptively make an adjustment? Why can't you come out and shift your guys around a little bit to try to get more possession on the ball, or to get in a place where you can, clamp down on their attack or their possession? And
Well, I
and
have I have a reason for that as a suggestion. I'm not saying it is so, but unlike Charlotte, FC Dallas had the game against Charlotte and then had to turn around and play right away tomorrow. So my money is on FC Dallas basically once they took the lead, basically saying, hey, okay, let's conserve energy, let's not go all out because you could tell Charlotte was.
hmm
All right, but Charlotte will have extra days to rest, and FC Dallas won't. So the mentality here is Charlotte was going for it because they knew they would have time to recuperate. FC Dallas, on the other hand, sure they're at home, so they don't have to travel, but they weren't going to have that much time to recuperate. So you got a team that's got the lead trying to conserve their energy, and then you got a team who's behind who says, hey, you know, if we lose here, we might as well go home. And we've got extra time to recover, so let's make the best of it. And I think that's the difference. The style of play dictated, honestly, I prefer that FC Dallas would have gone all out to get the win because then if they get the win, then the following results don't matter. You get 3 points and you're pretty much in. You're pretty much through.
hmm
So, um, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what was heartbreaking about this match is we all expected a rotated squad. We all expected FC Dallas to rest some players and give some players that were rusty some minutes. And had they played that squad, and the result would have been 2-2 PK loss, as a fan base, I think we would have been okay with it. We would have said, hey, they rotated. Uh, we didn't expect them to take this seriously. And I think we would have been able to stomach it a little bit easier. But the fact that they put out as strong a lineup as they possibly could, indicating that they were going for it, and then to play the way they did, that had the opposite effect. I think that's demoralizing to us us that were watching the game because they were the better team. FC Dallas was the better team. They just could not put Charlotte away. And Charlotte, despite being outplayed for stretches of the game, they never stopped fighting. They stayed in the game. They found a way to find the equalizer, and then the PKs was just one demoralized team and one energized team. Simple as that. I mean, people are body language people, and you can tell. I mean, and the fact that last goal had been pretty much near death there, that to go straight to PKs following that. I mean, Charlotte was on a high, and FC Dallas was still going. What the hell happened? We had the three.
hmm
So, but yes, I mean,
Yeah.
it's FC Dallas needs to honestly go all out in this next match. I know, if they need to get a win to guarantee the advance, and if they don't win, then they have a long vacation ahead of them. So, what are you conserving energy for? You know. So I hope that they go all out in the next match. I mean, I expect some rotation. I mean, I wouldn't be too upset if we saw Areola and Paxton and Tuamasi, those guys get starts. Maybe a rotation at the fullbacks. You know, something along those lines. I would expect
Yeah.
some rotation,
Yeah.
but I'm hoping it's a rotation that indicates that we're still serious about trying to advance out of the group.
Yeah, so disappointing start to Leagues Cup, but I'll just my positives are just we missed Martin Paz in this game. Maybe he would have been the difference. He would have saved one of those goals, or
You know,
But
I have to agree with you there. I mean, and mind you, we all expected Jimmy to play, but this game just highlighted that, a guy that he's not very tall, he's
yeah,
short for the position, and a guy like that has to be on point. His decision making has to be perfect because he doesn't have the length or athleticism, or of a pass, and so he's a guy who relies on uh, having excellent positioning, making sure that his communication with the backline is top notch. And when that's not there, you see it. You see the difference, and that's basically. I think Jimmy is a guy who needs a run of games to get into form. He's not going to get a run of games, you know. So I wouldn't be surprised if they run him out again. In all honesty, you know,
yeah,
um, I won't, and hopefully he plays a little better. But we're all seen this before, and you're like, he's hit a certain level, and I think I've said privately, we've got two stud homegrown keepers in the pipeline. It might simply be time to move on from Jimmy. I mean, you know, it's.
yeah.
I mean, you'd be gambling that Paz can last the entire season without getting injured. You know, I don't know. It's a tough decision. I still expect Jimmy to be here till the end of the season, so that's a
Sure.
decision more for next year. But I think it's a fan base where, like, I think we're ready to move on from Jimmy. Love the guy, but like I
Yeah.
think everyone can see he's lost a step, or he's just rusty. I don't know. There's something missing. This is not the Jimmy that we're used to seeing, and it's obvious to everybody for everybody to see.
Well, and I think too, like that right side of the defense, has rightly been a sore point for FC Dallas because I think Giovan Jesus is a nice prospect, and I'm there are some maybe a minority FC Dallas fans who maybe have said, "Oh, we've seen enough. This guy's not good enough." He's so young. It's his first year in Major League Soccer. He's coming from a second division in like Brazil, right? And it's going to take some time for him just to continue to grow and mature and get some minutes. And he's definitely more of an attacking player. So he's got to work on his defense. We understand that, but so it's tough. But with Ema out injured, that to see the right side of the defense kind of be a weak point. But on the other hand, Bernard Kamungo was just fantastic in this match, and it's just
Just
something
continues
really,
to ball out, man.
just exciting to watch, and
Just continues to show that he's a future. He looks like a future starter for this team. Um, a solid uh, rotation piece right now. You got to be excited about that. And then wasn't Velasco playing centrally this match?
yeah, that was an interesting tweak as
And
well.
he
Yeah,
looked good. He looked
yeah,
good because they ran out the single, a single six in Quignon, and then they had the double eights with Velasco playing that eight spot, in advanced position, and he looked really good. Um, I don't know. I think that's just a sign that they put him there because I think we're going to see Paxton this next match, and they
mm,
wanted to have similar style play. They're like, hey, this is where we're going to run. We're going to run, go back to the single six and dual eights, and because of all the wingers that we signed, you know,
yeah.
why not play Velasco centrally, move, and have him rotate with Paxton until, because let's face it, Paxton needs to get healthy, and Velasco needs uh, a fresh look, a fresh take. So this helps both if they rotate for the time being, at least during Leagues Cup.
Well, Jose, give us your quick sense, and because I have no knowledge, I haven't really even bothered. I saw Big D Soccer put out a little preview of Necaxa. What can we expect against this team? Is this a winnable match for FC Dallas, or is it going to be really tough? I mean, we've seen a little bit of all of that from this Leagues Cup. We've seen some MLS teams dominate and some struggle against.
So Necaxa it's a team that hasn't won in their last 10 matches. All right, let's put that out there right now. So and mind you, Charlotte came in having not won in 8 matches, so it's, let's not get too excited. But technically, they're only really on a 3-match winless streak because they had the long break, between the Clausura and Apertura, and they're currently in this second half of the season, and they're basically only played 3 games. So, is it a winnable game? It is. And that simply comes down to they're going to be rusty. They'll be the rest of the team, but you're talking about a team who's still basically not yet in mid-season form where FC Dallas is. Sure, FC Dallas is, we all know the issues that FC Dallas has had. But they're at home. They're in mid-season form against a team that is still in their early season form, and their attack isn't very good. Now, don't get me wrong. Necaxa is going to try to. They play 5 in the back. They play a 5-4-1, and so they're a team that is capable of bunkering, which we all know that gives FC Dallas tons of issues. And their attack has been very anemic. I'm fairly sure that they've only scored 1 goal in their 3 games, and they actually had a friendly between their last game and now, and they didn't score there either. And their lone goal was scored on a set piece by a non-attacking player. So none of their attackers has yet to score a goal or an assist. But they will try. They will try to hit Dallas on the counter, and they will get many shots out. So FC Dallas has to be careful. The one thing where I think FC Dallas has a chance is Necaxa likes to, even though they play 5 in the back, they do employ a high line, with a defensive line, when they're on the attack. Which means, unlike other teams that try to force Dallas to break them down, they will be open for the counterattack. So FC Dallas. Now, if FC Dallas has possession and they're working the ball into the attack, then yes, Necaxa will have time to come back and bunker. But it's when they're trying to push forward, because there's a team that pushes such a high line, they will be open to counters. And so I think that's where FC Dallas, I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas plays very direct, over-the-top ball and basically just says, okay, if you guys are going to push the high line, and FC Dallas loves when teams employ a high defensive line against them. The few teams that dare try that end up getting a shootout with FC Dallas, or just lose. I mean, the only teams I can think of that always, for some reason, employ a high line against FC Dallas are like the LA teams, LAFC and LAG. And if I remember correctly, Dallas has beaten those teams this year. So the chances will be there, I think FC Dallas has to come out hard and fast in the first half, because fatigue may be an issue in the second half. Try to get a goal, and then just hold on, then kill the game. And I think that's the strategy. The strategy is go out, find a goal, then kill the game. So if Dallas is to score sometime in the first half, expect a very boring second half. And, well, on the attacking sense from FC Dallas, it'll be exciting in the fact that if they take a goal lead, they'll be trying to force Necaxa to break them down. So I think that's the game plan. I would not be shocked if this game goes to penalties, in all honesty. So keep that in mind.
The pressure will be on FC Dallas, and of course, FC Dallas is at home. Though who knows what the crowd will be like? This is this is a new cup, a new tournament.
It'll come down to how many Necaxa fans show up, right? Because we honestly don't know what the Necaxa presence is going to be in the DFW. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's another 10,000, or less for this match, and it's a midweek match, and those are generally poorly attended. So honestly, it'll come down to Necaxa presence. If Necaxa shows up in numbers, then we'll have a good crowd, and it may even seem like a road crowd. But if their presence isn't that big, it'll just be just like the last game we just saw.
Yeah. Well, it'll be fun too. That's tomorrow night. So plenty of reason to turn on your Apple TV or get on that TV Plus, which evidently is doing gangbusters for Apple and for MLS. Over 1 million subscribers, which is pretty exciting territory for Major League Soccer. And of course,
I think it's exciting for MLS fans, but
yeah.
I've been seeing so many people try to turn that into a negative on social media. You know, the haters are going to hate, and they're not convinced by the numbers, and they're just pushing the narrative that those are poor numbers, when in reality they're really good numbers for MLS.
Yeah, really good numbers. Well, then we turn to our on Saturday, North Texas Soccer Club with a new coach, John Gall, in charge after Javi Cano, which we talked about at length, and it had some sources just indicate that there was a lot of shock in the sudden coaching change. Well, North Texas was trying to turn a page, turn a new leaf, whatever metaphor you want to use. Welcome Sporting Kansas City 2. And guess what? It looked just about the same as things have gone for this
different
team.
Coach, same results. Let me put on my tinfoil hat for this one, just so you know. And looking at the way it all went down and what has transpired, and you get the feeling. I mean, for me, neither had a chance to sit down and look at it, and the fact that on the first game that Gal had 4 guys from the senior roster made available to him. The words that keep coming to my mind is false narrative. I get the feeling that North Texas wanted to sell a false narrative of Kano was the problem. He's gone. We're gonna replace him, and we've got 9 games left, and now we're gonna have a new manager, and then we're gonna go on a run and make the playoffs, and then Kano will be the scapegoat. They're trying to sell tickets, so I think the game plan was go out there, get the W, and then say, see, we fixed the problem. Well, you didn't fix anything. I mean, the same issues that were there before are still there, and there's only 8 games left. North Texas, surprisingly, as poorly as they played, are only 10 points out of the playoff spot, which I'm surprised, even looking it up. But it doesn't matter if they don't win. They have to start winning. And Sporting Kansas City are actually sitting in the 4th playoff spot, so they're not a bad team. I'm not justifying, as far as I'm concerned, you shouldn't lose points at home, so I'm not justifying the loss. I'm just saying Sporting Kansas City was a strong team, is a strong team, and not a fluky 3 points. They have 4 wins on the road this year, and so they have as many wins on the road as at home, and I'm fairly sure that the records are pretty identical. So they seem to play good, solid ball regardless of where they're playing. A very solid team this year. And Timbers is a team that, as they're playing next, it's a team that's struggling like North Texas, and it's a team that you should be able to gain 3 points at home, especially if you're going to have players loaned down to you. And so, if there's a game to turn the season around, it's got to start now. There's no tomorrow. They got to get 3 points against Timbers. They have 8 games left, 4 at home, 4 on the road. They must get wins at home the rest of the way and find a way to steal some points on the road. And I mean, unless they go on a run, they're going to be eliminated soon. So they need to get points, and they need to start playing with desperation.
Well, and Coach Gall, addressed media this past week, and of course post game. I wasn't able to join the post game, but he was, he was appreciative of the team's effort. He was very positive in his approach, and I wrote about this on the site today that, I don't know what you gain from what he would gain from coming out and saying, we weren't good enough. At this point, you just got to try to build some confidence and encourage your guys. And so, just a disappointing situation all around. And it just seems like a team that's it's just young. It's gonna take time. It's gonna gain experience the hard way. But then if that's true, then you wonder why you don't give Cano more time to sort of sort things out and even into next season before you make a move. But hey, we don't see what the FC Dallas front office sees, and it's just that question will linger. But in the meanwhile, it is what it is. And I think John Gall, in his conversation with me, just acknowledged that, hey, they made the decision. We're going to move forward and do the best we can do here. And so, just wishing them the best as the season unfolds.
And you know what North Texas needs to do, in all honesty, is they need to just settle on a back line. Every game, it's a different combo and whatnot, but it hasn't worked this year. And if they're going to get some stability, it starts with making sure you send out the same back line. You got Rose has been starting a left back for most of the season, so there's your one starter. Henry has been starting most of the season at center back. There's another starter. Carrera, but the other center back and the right back have been in flux all season long. All season long. We had Endele back, and now that FC Dallas is getting healthy, keeping Endele at North Texas for the remainder of the season and starting at right back would be a huge boost for this team. And then Noel Norris got to start at center back after having played, at D mid for a bit. He needs to get a run of games at center back, and that's and then Saint came back, and he's been in and out of the lineup all year. So that's what your defense should be. You should be Rose, Norris, Henry, Endele, and then Saint at D mid, and mess around with the attack all you want. But it's the back line has been bleeding goals at inopportune times. And if they want to stop that, then they need to settle on a back line. And that's my suggestion is rotate all you want. Maybe these guys don't have to play the full 90 minutes and you can sub them out and whatnot. But that should be your starting lineup, back line for the remainder of the season if you want to make a run. Let them gel. And if you can make them gel, if they can become a cohesive unit, they'll stop bleeding goals.
Well, as we round out the show, I think we want to mention the rumor I also posted on the blog today. That's what we've been chatting about on Twitter, or if it's called X now, whatever the hell it's called. But this thought that Austin FC is negotiating with Toronto FC to bring Matt Hedges back to Texas, but with our...
I heard it's a done deal.
Okay. So, which I imagine would be. I think Matt would probably prefer to get back to some more familiar landscape to get his body right. I don't know.
But it's for FC Dallas fans, so it's such a kick in the nuts, though. It's like we love Matt, and it's just to see him in the colors of a rival. It's gonna hurt, It's there's no way around it. It's just we just gotta sit here and go. That's, I wish there were clauses when they sold him to Toronto that said, hey, part of the deal is he can't be traded back to Texas, to one of our rivals. But they didn't do that. And honestly, that's something for someone like Hedges or some of our beloved players. If you're going to trade them to another MLS team, maybe it's time to start considering those clauses and say, hey, we don't mind you. We think this guy's going to be great for you, but if for some reason you decide to get rid of him, we better not see them, unless they join on a free. There should be a clause that says you can't trade them to Austin or Houston. I think as a fan base, we would appreciate that. Now, we've got, quite a few former FC Dallas players in Austin, who seem hell bent on recreating like the 2016 uh,
Yeah,
FC Dallas. I mean, I'm
that's
just
weird.
waiting for them to go out and sign Castillo and bring Mauro Diaz from Argentina. I mean, that's coming.
Yeah. That's going to be so weird seeing Hedges, and I imagine it will be. I think Matt would like a change of scenery. Toronto is a dumpster fire right now, and it's just so
Yeah,
so weird.
and
And it doesn't make a lot of sense for FC Dallas either to try to go and hijack the trade and bring him back to Dallas. I just don't know what we'd gain. He's not. It wouldn't be if like I said in the article, if Jose Martinez had been injured a longer term, yeah, Hedges could be a real benefit, but Jose's back on the field. It just doesn't, other than
and,
nostalgia or
I've heard another rumor, just to throw it out there for you. Since we're talking about rumors, you know me, I love rumors. I've heard that the Brian Reynolds moved to the team that he's playing with. You know, they made an offer for his services. I hear that that's all but dead, and the only teams that are currently asking, that are actively trying to get his services are in MLS, and that FC Dallas is still being named as one of those teams. you know, I mean, like, don't get me wrong. You know, if Brian Reynolds comes to Dallas, he would help Dallas. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. I I can't help but think though that he moved to Europe with the intent of staying in Europe, and I don't know what he gains from coming back to FC Dallas, especially if it's just a end of the season loan. You know, minutes, sure, he can get him with FC Dallas, but it's such a tough thing. It's like, don't get me wrong. If Dallas goes out and gets Reynolds, I'll be happy. But at the same time, I can't help but to think that they're going to hurt the development of Giovanni Jesus and Tuamasi and the kids behind them. Reynolds would be basically a must start.
sure.
None of this rotation stuff, unless he's injured or something. And that's my only issue with it is Reynolds would have to come in and basically immediately bump. What do you do with Tomasi or Giovanni Jesus? You know,
It would be
um,
it'd be a challenge. It would be a real challenge. I
and
mean, do you send Jesus down to get some minutes in North Texas? Yeah,
well,
I don't, I
well,
don't
but
know.
Jesus, because he's so young and his deficiency is on defense. This is a player that you could bring off the bench for the remainder of the season. You know, but if you're telling me that you're gonna have Reynolds and it's gonna be a must start pretty much every match, and then you have to choose between either Giovanni Jesus or Tomasi, depending on what your needs are, to come off the bench, you can't help but think that that's going to be stunting both of their developments. If they're competing for bench minutes, not starter minutes. So my concern is that if they're serious about bringing in Reynolds, it must mean that Tuamasi is injured to a worse than we thought. Because I think I would be okay, say if Tuamasi's done for the season, for example, then Reynolds would make sense because he would be an upgrade
Sure.
over Giovanni Jesus, and Jesus could be a guy who could come off the bench or get a start from time to time if Reynolds needs a break. That makes sense. It doesn't make sense if Tomasi and Jesus are both available to bring back Reynolds because, like you said, neither of them is going to gain anything by playing for North Texas. They got to play for FC Dallas. They got to get minutes.
Yeah, and maybe it opens up the door for a 5-3-2 kind of a situation or something, but I just think it creates. It's just the same thing with the Hedges thing. It would be like if we could bring Hedges home, like I just don't think it solves major problems unless someone is injured for the rest of the season, and then yes, we could obviously
Reynolds,
use a body.
Reynolds, you gotta think that Reynolds would be better than Reynolds when he was here. He's
I
gonna be
agree. I mean, even in the Gold Cup, I think Reynolds was good. I mean, he was fun to watch.
and I think he would give us the best of both worlds. As in, we already know he's an excellent attacker, and his defense is certainly better, far better than Giovanni Jesus's. Maybe not as good as Tomasi's, but what you get on the attack is so much more.
Yeah.
So, like I
Yeah.
said, it's one of those moves that if it happens, we'd be happy, and if it doesn't happen, we'd still be happy.
Well, and Jose, just what were your thoughts about Messi's debut in the Leagues Cup for Major League Soccer? Was it everything you thought it would be?
I actually watched that match. The way the schedule worked out is I was able to watch the first half of.
Uh-oh. Got some technical difficulties. That happens sometimes as we do this. Oh, boy.
My headphones died.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I watched the first half of that match and then was able to switch over to FC Dallas game. And then when the FC Dallas game hit halftime, I was then able to switch back to the Inter Miami game. And let me tell you, that Inter Miami defense is atrocious. I have no clue how they did not allow 4, 5, 6 goals in the first half alone. That's how many shots their opponents had, and they just could not hit the broadside of the barn. Their defense was so porous that when Inter Miami scored in the first half, I was laughing so hard because I'm like, this is just ridiculous. How does it feel for Cruz Azul to know that they've been dominating this game, just running roughshod, and Miami just could not hold on to the ball. They were turning the ball over in terrible positions where you should punish them, where a good team would punish them, and Cruz Azul just couldn't do it. I was laughing so hard when they scored. It's like here you are, you've dominated the entire first half, and you're down 1-0.
Mm.
And then, of course, Crusoe would eventually tie it up. And honestly, uh, you saw what Miami was getting with the game uh, winding down, looking like it's going to go to PKs. You get the ball to Messi's feet just outside the box. He gets fouled. That's going to happen every single time. And then you set him up for that set piece, which nobody surprised he made that. And anybody who claims that that was his shot, it was a ridiculous shot, and it's a shot that everyone knows is in his arsenal. And there's no way the number of goalkeepers that could get to that shot in the world is very limited, and there's very few, if any, goalkeepers in MLS that are going to be able to get that. So gorgeous shot. I mean, as soon as he got the ball and got fouled, you knew that was coming, and that's what Miami's playing for. This guy is gonna turn losses into wins and draws. I mean, losses into draws and draws into wins. And now
Yeah.
um, the question is, does Miami have enough to make a run? Because even though Messi and company will provide a lot of goals for Inter Miami, that defense is so bad, just so bad that I mean they're probably gonna have to win quite a few shootouts going forward. And I mean like 3-3 games, 4-4 games, those kind of because their defense is that porous. It is so bad. And mind you, I already heard that both Busquets and Messi are starting the next match, so it's gonna be must-watch TV all over again.
All right. Well, interesting stuff.
Great game though. Very fun game to
Yeah.
watch, just because of everything that's going on.
And of course, we also have the Women's World Cup going on. Congratulations to the U.S. women for getting their first win over Vietnam, although we were expecting that. And I think the next couple matches will be interesting to see.
They dominated though, weren't they? Didn't they
Yeah.
hold them to like no shots and no? I mean, it was just
Yeah, and they should have done better than 3-0. I think people were a little disappointed, but hey, give them a chance to warm up a bit. It's a
3-0
very
is a
interesting
dominant-
squad. It's like very
3-0.
very veteran players, and then these young players. It's a really interesting
It's
squad.
just the right amount of vets to youngsters ratio. You've got your proven winners that are going to make sure that the team stays on point, and then you got some really young, exciting players that are coming in and giving you a hint of what the next generation is going to be able to do. You're seeing before your very own eyes a smooth transition of power, which is very hard for any team. Only the best teams in the world, in any sport, pull that off. And you're seeing the American women doing that. You're seeing them basically slowly change out veteran players, bring in young players, and you're not seeing a drop off.
Yeah. It's exciting stuff. Well, look, let's leave the show there. We got, again, tomorrow night, FC Dallas welcomes Necaxa to town. It'll be a fun match. Hopefully FC Dallas can put the full game together, and then Saturday night, North Texas will play again.
It'll be a fun match simply because you've got a style. Your opponent's going to be using the style that we don't normally see in MLS. And they're going to be playing a style that I'm not saying they'll normally see it in Liga MX, but it should also be slightly different than we're used to. So the first couple of minutes, the first 50 minutes or so is going to be interesting as both teams kind of try to feel each other out, I'm just, like I said, it's just that clash of styles. I can't think of any team in MLS that runs a 5-4-1 full time, I've seen teams that switch into it, but to be your primary formation, and their starting lineup has remained pretty much, they might switch one player here or one player there game to game, but it's pretty much the same. They run a short bench, just like Nico likes. Nico always talks about keeping a short bench. Necaxa runs a short bench. So the players that you're going to see are the same players that they would have played in Liga MX, same players that they played in their friendly. They're not really going to run out a rotated squad. And if they do, more power to FCD. But I expect them to field a squad and an A- squad at the worst. It's still going to be a strong, because like I said, they run a short bench. So even if they use bench players, they only use so many bench players anyway, and those guys rotate starts. So it will not be a weekend team per se. I'm looking forward to it.
Should be fun. Well, let's leave it there. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. And, of course, remember to like and subscribe and leave a review wherever you find podcasts if you listen to us as we just try to grow the show and have a good time. Thanks, Jose.
All right. Thanks a lot. Have a good one.